Grab your cup. I want to talk about narcissism, people with narcissistic tendencies, however you want to say it. But I want to talk about it from a different perspective than I think what people normally talk about. Because I don't know about you, but on my social media feed, because of what I do and the kinds of posts that I share, I see a ton of that in my feed. Narcissism, the toxic narcissist, and this is what they do, and this is what you want to look for, and are they an overt narcissist or a covert narcissist, and what else? Even in my own feed, my own posts, there's comments there with people saying, hire this investigator, they'll go look at your spouse's phone, if you think they're cheating on you and lying and all of that. So the focus is always on that person doing the toxic behavior, right? The perspective I want to go into today a little bit is not on them, but on you. And this is not victim blaming, but the only place that you can have power in your life is if you look at you. Whatever they do is what they do. You can't change that. You have zero control or impact on that. You only have control and impact on your choices, how you end up in relationships. So I've been on the phone this weekend with 3 different people who said, I have these toxic relationships. One woman said, my last 3 relationships were with narcissists. At some point, the only place that it even makes sense to look is you, right? So here's a couple of things. Number 1, and in the beginning, I think for most people, in the beginning of that kind of relationship, they don't think anything's wrong. In fact, people will say my partner started out great. Well, let's look at that, because a lot of times what feels great is filling a need, but it's not love. It's not like they started out loving me. They started out maybe saying, I don't want you to work in that job. You work too much, I want you home more. Or maybe they started out saying, don't dress like that. I don't want you to dress like that. I want you to dress like this. I want you with me more. I had a boyfriend, it just popped into my head. I had a boyfriend back when I was in high school. And I remember he said to me once, I want to be everything for you. I would take you to an island where it would be just the 2 of us and you don't need anybody else. And I remember thinking, yikes, because that kind of attention seems, especially when someone has a hole in their heart, when they're looking for love, those kinds of statements and that kind of attention feels like, oh my God, they love me so much that they would just want to do that. And it's not the case. It's controlling. It's really wanting to have control over you. That was the beginning of the end for me in that relationship. And I was young, but that was where I really was like, why would you say that? Why would you not want me to have other people in my life, in my head? And so that was the beginning of the end of that relationship for me. But where did you decide that felt really good? And then at some point, whether you got married and you're into the marriage now, or you've been staying for a long time, it doesn't feel so good anymore. It feels controlling. But now you're into a pattern. And then the next thing that shows up is you say to yourself, it's not that bad. I'm used to this now. It's okay, I can deal with it. At least I blank, fill in the blank. At least I have a roof over my head. At least he pays for stuff. Or she, there can be women who are narcissists. At least they take care of everything. At least they just handle it for me and I don't have to do that. So we start to justify and accept in our head things that are not okay, but we make it be okay. Because we don't want to, we have this thought, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to disrupt things now. I don't want to make them upset. It's not worth it when they get upset. So that's another whole pattern of behaviors, which is let me just accept things and shove down what's not okay with me. Another place to look are the things that you want. When you say, I would really love for us to go do this. No, I don't want to do that. Not like they can't have a difference of opinion, but someone who is always saying, no, this is what we're going to do. No, what I want and expect is more important. And then you think, well, what they want that's not bad. I guess I would like that too. So again, we justify. So if you have been in narcissistic relationships, if you find yourself surrounded by people like that, because that's what another woman said to me this weekend, they're just around me all the time. The place to look is, what is it about you that calls that to you? What is it about you that finds it familiar and finds it safe when somebody is behaving in a certain way? And then the next thing you know, you're back in a relationship that's not great. It's a different perspective. I think it's much more powerful to look at yourself than it is to focus on blaming them. Look at what you think is normal. Look at what you feel is familiar. Look at how you define being loved or loving, right? Just accepting is loving. Is that really true? Is that what love is? Accepting something and not speaking up? Or is love actually sharing the truth of how you feel so that you give the other person a chance to actually really know who you are and to respond in a way that's true to them? If you're with someone who is good in relationships, that's what they really want to do. So that's the reason I'm talking about that, is because all of that is driven from your own conversation in your head about yourself, the own ways that you are used to giving and receiving love. And if you want to create something different going forward, if you don't want to end up in that same kind of situation, you need to change who you are, how you think and feel, and how you interpret things in order to have something different show up, right? Drop me a comment on what you think about that. Have a good day.